Hi, I'm Robert.
Hi, I'm Yudee.
Welcome to Eastland English.
Today I will be a student again.
Thank you so much, Yudee.
You're welcome.
Today we're not going to do sentence completion. We're going to do error recognition. This part of many proficiency tests is actually a little bit more difficult than the sentence completion part because it indirectly tests your knowledge in 4 different areas at the same time. So our strategy is going to be a little bit different. We're looking for the correct answers first to delete them, and then with whatever is left, we find the incorrect answer. There are always 4 underlined sections, and it's your job to find the incorrect one. So as I read, you can start your process of elimination. Number 1, when I suggest putting less sugar in your coffee, I said it because I want you to be healthier. Yudee, is there anything that you noticed from this sentence that can help you out?
Yeah, there are 2 keywords for me.
Okay, what's the first one?
The first one is when.
Excellent. Yeah, when is a subordinating conjunction here. When can tell you that it's either going to be a complex sentence or a very specific type of complex sentence, which is called the zero conditional, meaning it's stating a fact. Similar to if. Zero conditional can be replaced with when. All right, what is your second?
Second one is the verb said.
Right, said past tense. So let's try to find ones that are correct to follow our strategy. First of all, this is subject verb. What comes after a verb is likely going to be the object, and especially with suggest, it requires an object. And here we have pudding, which is a gerund and a noun, and therefore is a correct object. Next we have because.
Yes.
Because, what should follow because?
Subject, I, and want is a verb.
Yeah, so therefore it's correct. And the meaning is correct too, because everything here is the cause of why this person said it. Finally, it's to be. To be here equals an infinitive of purpose. It tells about the verb want. What do you want, or why do you want, or how do you want? And it's for you to be healthier. So it's an infinitive of purpose. We're left now coming back to the first verb. We have said before that said is past tense. Therefore, this should be past tense. What do you think, Yudee?
So I will add ed, so suggested.
Yeah, that's correct. When I suggested putting less sugar in your coffee, I said it because I want you to be healthier. Number 2, due to the looming deadline, I will give the report to he as soon as my assistant has collected all of the required documents. All right, I'm going to point out a key word for people which they may or may not have seen before, and that's the word looming. This word here, looming. Looming means threatening and coming soon. Threatening and coming soon. So therefore,
It is a future, right?
Yeah, it should be the future tense. So because of that, we can say that A is likely correct because the future tense must have
Will and then verb 1.
yeah, will verb 1 for the simple future. So there's nothing wrong with that. Then let's go to a couple of others that we can delete from our list of possible answers. What else do you see here?
So I will delete D.
D, why?
Yes, right? Because documents is a noun. So the word that comes before noun must be an adjective.
Excellent. So required is an adjective here. Require is a verb, and required could be a past tense verb, but in this case it is the adjective for documents, and it means necessary, the necessary documents. All right, good
Right.
job. Anything else?
Let's move up a little bit to C.
Okay,
You see has.
good.
When you see either has or have, this must be followed by a noun or verb 3.
Yes, a noun or verb 3. And again, verb 3 is Thai shorthand for the past participle. So we have has, and has collected, is that the past participle?
Yes.
Yes, it is. So we can delete A, C, and D, and we're left with only B. Now, if you didn't delete any of the others, and you were looking only at the object of the verb, which is report, and the indirect object to this person, you would know right away that he is not an object pronoun. So the object pronoun here should be him. Therefore, it should read, due to the looming deadline, I will give the report to him as soon as my assistant has collected all of the required documents. This sentence is testing your ability to find the correct object pronoun. Number 3, many of the participants in the internship program have already obtained qualifications in their area of interesting. What do you look for first here, Yudee?
I always look for subject-verb agreement.
Okay, excellent. So what is the subject of this?
This one is participants.
Yes, and here we have many of the participants. And if you remember, for of the, we took this up in the last video that we did. And if you use many, you can just delete of the. You can say many participants. But if you want to be more specific, you would say many of the, because you're talking about in the internship program. So therefore, many of the is correct. Many of is not correct. And many would be correct as well. But here we have of the, that's correct. All right, and then the verb.
Have.
Have is the verb. And have is the plural form of the verb, and participants is a plural noun. All right, so we've got A and B already. Let's look at C and D. Anything that you see here?
Preposition in, you
Yes.
use with the areas.
So in is used for geography and 3 dimensions, but it's also used for thought. And this is an idea. So we're left with areas of interesting. Why do you think that might be wrong?
I recognized of is a preposition,
Yeah.
must be followed by a noun,
Correct.
but interesting is an adjective.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's correct. Of should be followed by a noun, and interesting is not a noun. It's an adjective. You might think it could be a noun because it looks like a gerund. Interest could be a verb, and if you add ing, it could make that a gerund, but in this case it doesn't. Interesting is always and only can be an adjective. And what is the noun form of that word?
Interest.
Yes, exactly. Interest. This question was testing your ability to use parts of speech correctly. Number 4. Many great leaders have found it almost impossible to make people change how they behave unless a reward is offered. Okay, this is a fairly difficult sentence. Is there anything that you can see right away that will help you eliminate some of the choices?
Yes, look at the subject, leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And then have
Yes.
is a subject-verb agreement.
Yes.
Have requires found, verb 3, right? So what about it?
Yeah, so it is the object, and if you find something, it must have an object. So it, in this case, is the object for what they found, and it means the idea of it being impossible. So that is correct. We have verb 3 or past participle and the object together, which refers to the idea of it being impossible. So that's a pass. Let's look at the others. Let's look at C. How is the next one that we'll look at? How is an adjective, and this adjective forms the adjective clause after that. So we have how they behave is an adjective clause, and it's referring to the change, what they're changing. The next case, unless a reward is offered, we look at that is offered is the correct form of the passive voice, but should it be passive voice or not? Who offers the reward?
The leaders.
Yeah, correct. The leaders offer the reward. It's not that the reward offers the leaders, so this must be passive voice, therefore correct. And we're left with A. Can you see anything wrong with A?
Yeah, like I told you earlier, leaders is a subject. Then the word that comes before the subject or the noun must be an adjective.
Yeah, correct.
But something is wrong with grades.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, something's wrong. We have a quantifier, many, and then greats. That is a plural noun. And if you didn't have leaders, it would work because greats would then become the noun. Many greats have found it. No problem, greats would be the noun. But in this case, it's used as the adjective. And we almost never use a plural noun as an adjective. And if it were the adjective great, then it would also never have an S on it. So a little bit difficult, but easy if you know that most adjectives don't have an S on them. 4 should be, many great leaders have found it almost impossible to make people change how they behave unless a reward is offered. This sentence is testing your ability with adjectives. Number 5. Because Winnie was tired of constantly staring at the laptop screen, she stopped for drink a cup of tea. Here we have a sentence beginning with a subordinating conjunction. What should come after the subordinating conjunction?
Subject, Winnie, and then verb.
Yeah.
In this case is was.
Excellent. So we need at least a subject and a verb. Some don't require an object. So you're looking for at least a subject and a verb. And here we have it. So the grammar is correct. And now the context or meaning. Is it the cause of the second clause? And if we look, tired, staring, screen, stop, drink, tea, okay. Likely the cause, so this one is a pass. Next we get to staring. In this case, staring acts as the object. It's an activity and a noun. Staring means to look at something for a very long time and not look away. So looks good by grammar and by meaning. Next we have see, stopped. That's a past tense verb, and that does correlate to the first clause, which is also a past tense. So we're left with D. What do you think about D?
I think we have to change the preposition for to to drink.
Right?
Because it's the infinitive of purpose.
Yeah, it is the infinitive of purpose, or it explains why she stopped. In this case, you could also delete drink. So she stopped for a cup of tea would also work. But either way, D is wrong. Number 5. Because Winnie was tired of constantly staring at the laptop screen, she stopped to drink a cup of tea. Or you could say she stopped for a cup of tea. Either one would work. Again, still D is wrong. This question is testing your knowledge of infinitive of purpose. Also, the use of prepositions. Number 6. The manager, Ms. Benning, summarized the project and then told those gathered they were not need any longer. As we look at this, we have to find the subject first. What is the subject?
The manager.
Yeah, the manager. And here is a punctuation point. What follows the manager is comma, then a name, and then another comma. And this punctuation always tells us that there's some form of a positive inside the comma. And if you find inside the comma another noun that further defines the first noun, it is likely correct. And if it's not a necessary appositive, it will have commas around it. Here, the manager tells us that there's only one manager, so the name of the manager is not a necessary appositive. Therefore, it is offset by a comma before and a comma after. All correct for A. For B, those gathered is the pronoun and the adjective about the pronoun. Those equals the pronoun for the people who are at the meeting, and gathered means they have gathered together to meet together. So both the object pronoun and the adjective are correct here. So B, fine. Next we have C and D. What verb tense is this sentence in?
Past tense.
Yeah, it's past tense. How do we know that?
Because of summarized.
Yeah, summarized is past tense, so we know that this C should be past tense. And the C also tells us something else. Because it's the verb be and another verb following it, we end up with the passive voice. And how do you make the passive voice?
Verb be and then verb 3.
Yeah.
Here you can see C is verb be already, right?
Right.
Were. But D is verb 1.
Yeah.
You have to add ed.
Yeah.
So therefore, D is needed.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Passive voice is always the verb be and the past participle. So this should be the manager, Ms. Benning, summarized the project and then told those gathered they were not needed any longer. Number 7. Although tornadoes can be extremely dangerous, there are precautions one can take when facing this natural phenomenon. Is there anything that you see here right away that you can delete because it's correct?
Yes, I will delete C.
C.
Because I can see there are.
Yes.
So-
And what follows there are is always some kind of plural noun, right?
Yes, right.
How do we know it's a plural noun?
I can see S after shun.
Yeah. S after shun, and so therefore precautions is likely a plural noun. Let me tell you a little bit about precautions. First of all, pre means before. It's the prefix that means before. And cautions is something where you take care. So taking care before makes this a positive clause. So although looks correct by that process. So we're left with D and B. What do you think about D?
I will cut D as well because can is a modal verb. It must be followed by verb 1.
Great, yes. Take is verb 1 or the present tense. So we're left with B, danger. This is the one that is incorrect, but there's another way to tell that it's incorrect. And that is because you have the verb be, and after the verb be, it's likely going to be an adjective. And after an adverb as well, extremely, it must be an adjective. So you have two signs that are pointing you towards adjective, and danger is a noun. So what is the adjective form of danger?
Dangerous.
Yeah, dangerous. So therefore, number 7 should read, although tornadoes are extremely dangerous, there are precautions one can take when facing this natural phenomenon. Number 8, cleverness and cunning are synonyms, these words sharing a similar meaning. Okay, Yudee, is there anything that you can see right away?
Yes, right. I can see the subjects, cleverness and cunning.
Excellent. And then the verb?
Or is correct.
Right, are is correct. So we have subject-verb agreement because we have a plural subject and a plural form of the verb. Anything that you see, Yudee, that looks correct to you?
Yes, I can delete D.
D.
Because similar is adjective.
Right. Similar is an adjective.
Yes, right. And it must be followed by a noun.
Right.
Meaning is a noun, so that's correct too.
Yes, it is. Meaning is a noun. And so we have similar meaning. That works together. We're left with B and C. And to be quite honest, this whole sentence depends upon the punctuation here. It is another form of a positive. If we changed this punctuation to a semicolon, so if this comma became a semicolon, we could then look at these two sentences as separate clauses. Instead, here we have a subject and a verb and an object followed by what could be a subject and a verb here if this changed to a verb. So if it were a clause, it would be these words share a similar meaning. But there is no semicolon or full stop, so this cannot be a clause. You cannot put two clauses together in one sentence without a semicolon or some kind of conjunction. We don't have that. We have only a comma. And as we saw with the Ms. Benning's sentence, this comma introduces in a positive. This should be a noun phrase of some sort. For an appositive, this noun phrase here should be a definition of this noun here. And you can see words sharing a similar meaning is the noun phrase that is equal to or further defines the word synonyms. This word be should be or. Cleverness and cunning are synonyms or words sharing a similar meaning. Number 9. Matthew has decided to study for his master's degree in the USA before he and his partner takes a vacation. Okay, Yudee, is there anything that you can pick up here right away that you can delete because it's correct?
I will delete A.
A, why?
Because it's the infinitive of purpose.
Right, it is the infinitive of purpose. Is there anything else that you see? What about his?
His represents Matthew.
Yeah, it belongs to Matthew, and so his is the adjective. It's not a pronoun, it's actually an adjective, and it refers back to Matthew. It means belonging to Matthew. So correct?
Yes, it's correct.
It is correct. Next is the preposition in.
Correct too, because we use preposition in with countries.
Yeah, excellent. And we talked about that before. We use in for areas and geography, generally speaking, and so in correct here. We're left with D, and the reason why D is wrong is all about subject-verb agreement. In this case, it's a little bit difficult. This is a bit tricky. Quite often they will put a compound subject of singulars and then try to fool you into taking a singular verb. Because it's a compound subject, there are two elements of the subject. It must be plural. Therefore, the verb should be
Take, because subjects are he and his partner, right?
Yeah, you have to add them together. It's a bit tricky because the last thing you see is singular. You think, oh, it must be a singular verb, but because there are two of them together, it makes it a plural or a compound subject. All right, number 9 should be Matthew has decided to study for his master's degree in the USA before he and his partner take a vacation. Okay, this is our last question for today. What do you see, Yudee?
The key word for me is please. Please indicates that the message is for you.
Yeah. Please indicates that there's a hidden subject. It is a command, and commands have hidden subjects. It means that the subject is you, but it's not written or it's not spoken. After the subject should be
a verb.
Right. A verb should follow the subject. Because the subject isn't here, it's sometimes difficult, but please indicates that the subject is you, and considering is not a verb unless it has the verb be before it. This should read, in order to respect local traditions, please consider the rules before entering the temple and remove your shoes. This is testing our knowledge of command structure or hidden subjects. Thanks for watching. We hope that you've learned something new today. Please like and subscribe for future tutorial videos.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. See you next time.